right? And under that resource group, so we have seen like how to create the data factory, right? So how to create the resource group? So we will go here and we'll go to home and we will have the section called as resource group. So we'll be kind of creating the resource group, and under this resource group, so we will be having the option called as create. So when we click on this create, so we will be able to create the resources, different resources like the data factory, storage account, all this we can create. Now today we are going to see how to create the SQL server, right? So the database, right? So in the Azure version, so you need not to install any software. So you can directly create the SQL server from your local, and you can start working on that. So in order to configure and access that SQL server, so you need to download the setup. What you need to download the setup is, so download SQL Server Management Studio. So this one you have to download. So just go here and you have to download this. You can download this one, okay, whichever is the latest one. So once you download, so you will be able to find this. See, Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Once you download and install, so you will be able to find this Management Studio. So this is very useful to connect to any databases, right? Maybe your local instance or Azure SQL Server. So this is a thing that you need to download, except that we don't need to download anything. Okay, that is one thing. So after we download, so we will go to the portal, and within this portal, so we will be kind of creating the SQL server. Okay, so if you go here, if I connect to any SQL server database, it might be anything. So if you look at it, so we are having so the server name, right? And we are entering the username and the password, right? So first you have to create the server name. So under the server name, you will be able to create the databases. So if I connect this, so assume like this is the server name. So under this server name, you can create multiple databases, right? So first we need to create the SQL server. Under that, we can create the database. So in order to create that SQL server, what we can do, so just we will go here and then we can search for SQL. So you can search for SQL database, it might be. So just click on SQL database. So once you click on this SQL, okay, not SQL, maybe you can click on Azure SQL. Okay. So SQL, you can just click on SQL database. Here you can select Azure SQL because we want to create the SQL instance based out of Azure only. And then click on create. So here it will give you this window. So here what you need to choose is, here I am trying to create a server. I'm trying to create a server, database server. So you have to select under SQL databases, you have to select the resource type as database server and then click on create. Now you have to enter any server name which is kind of available. So it is not accepting any capital letters. It is accepting only small letters. So this is acceptable. Now this is a server name, and then we'll be able to select so which type of authentication mode that you want to use. So there are three types of authentication. SQL authentication. So if you select the SQL authentication, so you have to create the username. Login means username and the password. And if you select use both SQL and Microsoft Entra authentication. So what exactly mean by this? Microsoft Entra authentication. What exactly mean by this? So the meaning of this is, so when you are trying to uh, connect to this SQL server, for suppose if you select any Azure instance of the SQL server, for suppose like this. So here what I am using, I am using the username and password. If you select the SQL or server authentication, so you have to use your username and password that you have created, and you will be able to connect. Now, if I select, Azure Active Directory password, so what I will do, I will enter the mail ID that I used to log in into my Azure portal, right? So at the time of account creation, you must have given, right, some uh, username and password, right? So that username and password you have to provide. Then you should be able to connect ideally. Okay. So in my case, it is not enabled. So I'm not able to connect. But usually while you are working in the project, so this Active Directory authentication will be enabled. Since it is a trial account, you will not able to use this. Okay. So, but while you are working in the project, you will be able to use the username and password that you are trying to log in into the portal. So without username and without this login and password, you will be able to log in into the portal. Okay, that option is also available. So if you select this Active Directory password option, so we will be able to connect to the SQL server directly. Okay, by using the username and password without entering any usernames, the login name and the password. Right? So here the option is that. So if you go to this, so here if you use both SQL and Microsoft Entra authentication means, so if you have this username and the password, say this is my username, right? This using my username and password, email ID and the password, I can log in. So in our case, since it is a trial account, so we will not able to use Active Directory authentication because it is you have to buy the license based on your organization. So trial account, this option will not work. First one or second one. So you have to choose the SQL Server authentication itself. That's why we are using SQL Server authentication only. Now I can give the username, the login name, and the password you have to give. Right. So here I have given the username and the password. Now I can go and review and then click on create. So it will take a minute. So we will wait until it is created. Okay, so now the deployment is complete, means our SQL Server instance is ready. So we will go here, we'll go to our resource group and try to find that resource. So we can click on refresh. So after some time, it will be visible. So we will go here, we'll enter into this SQL Server that we have created. So, and we want to get the server name from this. Just I will go here. And then, okay. Now, once you enter into this, so where you will find the server name, the full server name. Until this only we have created, right? So this dot database dot windows dot net is common for every server name that we create. So we have to grab the server name from here, and the username will be here. So dbadmin. You can see that dbadmin over here, right? So you can see that. And so how to change the password in case like you forgot the password? So you have to go here. You have to type in reset password and you have to enter the password. In case sometimes we forget the password, right? So we can reset our password. So this is one thing. Now I want to connect to this server from my local. So I can copy this server name. I can click on connect and database engine, and then I will take this. I will choose the SQL Server authentication, and the username is dbadmin, and the password is what is the password that I have given. I can use that. I will be able to connect. Click on connect. So once you click on connect, so what it is saying, it is not able to connect to that. The instance specific error occurred while establishing a connection. Connection was denied because since there's deny public network access is set to yes. Blah blah blah. Means we are missing something over here. Directly, you are trying to connect to this SQL Server, Azure SQL Server instance from your local. But you have to tell the Azure that it is you are secured to access from this machine. So you should be authorized to connect to the SQL Server instance from your machine, right? So something is we are missing. So in order to access that SQL Server instance from your local, so you have to add your IP address. So where you will add your IP address, we will go to this networking. So within this networking, so we will be kind of enabling this option called as public access. We will go to this public access and we have to click on selected networks, and then within that you have to click on add your IP address. You need not to do anything. It will automatically detect the IP address of your network. You can just click on and you can click on save. You can click on save. So now your IP address is added and you enable to access from the public networks. Right? This is one change that you have to do. Now go and again connect. So you will be able to connect to that SQL Server from your local. Right? So this is a SQL Server that we have created. Right now there are no databases. Right? So this is how we will make the connection. So what we did, we went to this networking. Within the networking, we have just selected the option called as selected networks, and we added our IP address and click on save. So that will enable you to connect from your local computer. Otherwise, you are not allowed to connect. Now, under this SQL Server, now I want to create the database. So you have the option called as create database. So you can just enter that and we'll be able to create our database, our own database. So we can give any name, and we can go and choose this configuration. This is very much important. Compute plus storage. So configure database. This is very much important. If you miss this point, so your credits will be deducted very soon. Like, because if you choose the high configuration, so they will deduct you all the credits. So that's why you have to be careful while choosing this tier. So for our practice purpose, we can select basic. We don't need much GB or anything. So with this configuration, they will charge you 384 rupees per month. So if you choose different tier, standard or something, so how much they are charging? 1156. And you can see the options like data max size GB in GB. So with this configuration, you can store up to 250 GB. See, within a single click, we are trying to increase the CPU and the memory. So DTUs means data transfer units. So this will internally increase the memory and the IO speed, input output speed, right? So with the single clicks, so we are trying to scale up or scale down the resources, right? No, not a physical disk or anything is required. So high DTUs means if you increase the DTUs, say this much they will cost per month, like 3,46,813. So that's why we have to be very careful while configuring. So if possible, we can keep it minimum. Okay, because we will get only 13,000 rupees credits. Now I will choose the basic. So I don't want to get the speed. So I require only 1 GB is more than enough. And then click on apply. Right. So don't forget to choose this step and the configuration. And then everything is ready. Now just we'll try to review plus create and then create. Okay, our database is ready. So we are free to use that. So we'll go here, we'll go to our local and we just click on refresh. So the database will be able to access from here itself. See, this is the database that we have created. So under this, we can basically do anything that we want. So we can just click on new query and then we can try to create the table or anything. Just we will create a table from our local. Okay, test table or anything, just keep only one column and you click on execute. So we have created the table called as test, right? From our local. So that should be visible here. Right, this is appear here. And if you go to the portal also, if you go to the database, so it should be appear here also. You go into the database and the query editor. So you can connect from here also. Not only from there, if you want, you can connect from the Azure itself, but it is very user friendly. See how it is looks like. It's very user friendly. So here you will find very less options. It's not that user friendly. So even though like you have created from your local SSMS, so it will be visible here. So in the Azure, so you can also see open the query editor and you can query that. It's not a like that we have to install the tool, but the tool is SSMS is very user friendly. Okay, you can run the queries from here also, right? It's not like that. But so I suggest you to install this. This is very user friendly. That is one thing. So this is about the configuration of the SQL Server database. Now our basic resources are ready. Now we have the storage account, and within the storage account, yesterday we have seen we have go to these containers, and within that we have created a container and also uploaded a file. And here the database is ready. Now our data factory is also ready. Now we are good to at least to start and create the kind of a basic pipeline. So I will give the introduction today. So from Monday onwards, so we will be starting our creation of the pipelines, linked services, and data sets. So once you enter into the data factory, so you will find different sections, different sections. So you can just click on edit. So now you will here in this section. So here author means within the author tab, you will be able to find the pipelines. So you can just click on create new pipeline. So once that pipeline is created, you will be able to find different activities. You will be able to find different activities. So these are all the activities that we are going to discuss step by step with some scenarios. The mostly that are in the general section and iterational conditionals. These are all commonly used in any project. So we will be discussing about that. And if you see, we will also discuss the activities that are in copy, move and transform section. These three sections are important. And this is kind of a Azure Data Explorer. If you are using in the project Azure function, so these are all kind of out of the box activities. So if you have the data bricks in your project, so you will use this notebook. Otherwise, you don't use the. And if you are using big data technologies like Hive, MapReduce, Fig, or so you will be able to use this, right? And if you have machine learning models, so you can use this. So these are very specific to the project, but overall, like in all the projects, so the activities from the general section, iterational conditions, and move and transform are very helpful. And if you have the synapse in your environment, so you can call the synapse notebooks and everything. It's like specific to your project, right? So like this, and you find the section called as data set. So what is data set we will keep, and what is this change data capture? Okay. So all this will what is data flows? We will be going to discuss about the data flows. And of course, this Power Query, if you know the Power BI, it is not required at all. But anyway, we will see one introduction. Okay, it's not that much important. Um, Data flows are important and pipelines level and the activities. And next thing is we will have the monitor section. So monitor section means once you create the pipeline, assume like they are running on daily basis. So you want to check the status, whether the pipeline is succeeded, failed, or in progress, or you somebody cancel that, or it is going to execute, it is in the queue. So you can filter out and you can see by different status. And in the manage tab, so you will be having different options. Like we will see like what is linked service, integration runtimes, right? And also ARN template. So this one we will see, and also the triggers and the parameters that we will see. So we will try to cover whatever we require from this section. Okay. Now, so this is a kind of a learning center. Learning center means Microsoft will guide you to learn some basics. So if you just click on view all tutorials, it will take you to the link where this data factory tutorials exist. You can read the theory from here, right? What are the different concepts are there that they already provided some guide. So you can go and read these tutorials. And if you watch the video, they provided some link also. You can directly go to it is it will basically suggest you to go and view some concepts on the YouTube also, right? So and also there are some links like quick start, try it. So something like how to create the data factory pipeline, something blah blah blah. So all these are you will get some help, and so you can directly go from here and you can find some help, basic understanding of this data factory. Okay, so these are all the main sections, and that are available. So in the home section, if you look at it, so we have ingest, orchestrate, transform data, configure exercise. Just click on one thing. Just click on one thing. Ingest. When you click on ingest, it is it is suggesting you to choose something. So what is your source and destination? It is automatically trying to build a flow to copy the data from different sources to the destination. You need not to create the pipeline. Just you have to provide the basic information, and then it will create the flow for you. It will create the flow to copy the data from specific source to destination. You need not to use your brain. Just you have to pass the connections. These are all kind of predefined templates, right? You can try this also. Okay, I want to orchestrate. Okay, so how can I do that? So I can once I enter into that, so I can enter this section. Transform data. Transform data means it is asking you to create the data flow. So something like this. So it will guide you to how to do that. Okay, so this is a kind of a in the home section you will find, you will get some little help to get there to start with. So this is one thing. So this is all about the the sections of the data factory. Okay, so from Monday onwards, sorry, so Monday onwards, so we will be kind of trying to create the basic pipelines, and then we will be going from there. Okay, so this is all from the today's session. So if you have any queries, you can ask now.